Our running back strategy might surprise you in fantasy, but we promise we are trying to give you a leg up to potentially win every single one of your best ball leagues that you can and win a lot of money. So make sure you stick around to hear what we're doing with running backs in these best ball and fantasy drafts. Do us a huge favor. Make sure you like this video. It's free and easy, and it helps us out more than you could ever imagine, as well as subscribing. When we get to 1,000 subscribers, that really helps us out as a channel, so make sure you're subscribed. We super appreciate that. Make sure you head over to flockfantasy.com/domain when you use our code DOMAIN. We'll give you personalized team advice in the form of a team review video. We'll be sitting here, all three of us, we're going to review your team. You also get in listener leagues with us. We have best ball and dynasty leagues open on our Discord. You get access to the Discord, the Flock Discord. You get access to rankings. You get access to articles, databases, everything you could possibly need to put yourself in a position to win every single type of league that you play in. So flockfantasy.com, use code DOMAIN. Links in the description. Talking about our running back strategy today.
Hi, kids, and welcome to math class. Some quick math here for you.
Quick math.
There's 12 people in every underdog best ball draft, right? So in theory, the average rate to win your league is 1 out of 12, so 8.3%. We are looking in fantasy for league winners, and we classify a league winner as someone who has doubled the average win rate at 16.6%. And as you can imagine, that's pretty rare for that to happen. So we did a lot of research for this video, and looking into the 652 running backs that have been drafted in any best ball league since 2017, we found and tried to look for the signs that a running back might become a true league winner the next season. Of those 652 running backs drafted, 19 have been true league winners. They are the guys you might expect, right? Todd Gurley, Christian McCaffrey, Alvin Kamara, James Robinson, But and when we look at where those guys were drafted, you find James Robinson 223rd overall, so a nobody. But a lot of the other guys are at the top. 6 out of the 19 true league winners were in the first round. 2 of them already in the second round. There's only 2 in the second. When you go to the third, there's only 1. So looking at that data, 47% of running back league winners have been drafted by the start of the 4th round. And so that's what we're identifying in drafts this year. People are fading running backs a lot. So you no longer need to take those running backs in the first round. Our strategy, we're going to throw this graph up on the screen. This is the historical data for for league winning rates above or below average. The green is above average. The red is below, right? At the end of the first round, you usually found people reaching for their running back. They wanted their running back 1. Beginning of the second round, same story. Right now, you don't have to reach anymore. In the second and third rounds, it is an ideal place to start taking your running backs.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, the data suggests, again, historically, it's advantageous to avoid running backs at the 1-2 turn. Look at the red. Red means bad. Or if you're driving, it means stop. But in the 4th and 5th round, that's when you were wanting to target these according to the graph, or even just wait till the 7th or past. We're going to actually suggest the complete opposite. Why? Because when the fantasy community zigs, we zag. Right?
Leaves a lot of value left to pick up. Because,
man, I'll tell you what, and I understand, wide receiver, there's 3 of them you're starting in these leagues. So, yeah, you can make the positional premium argument that's their X percentage more valuable because you're starting more of them. The fact of the matter is, and this is completely opposite of the wide receiver video, honestly, because when you remember back to the wide receiver video, I think it was only like 19% of running back or wide receiver league winners were drafted before the 4th round. It was completely flip-flopped. But the problem is, and this is odd, it's going to come across odd because all you've seen is to take wide receiver. You got to get your wide receivers, got to get them. Get your wide receivers. Running backs actually might be the key to winning your best ball drafts this year. Because, you're playing in 1-year best ball leagues, and these running backs, like I said, last year there were 13 running backs going in the top 24 of ADP. This year, there is 8. So to put it simply, those fringe RB1s that we used to have to reach for in these best ball drafts at the top of the second, now we're getting the RB5 in the mid-6.
Well, that's supposed to be mid-second, I think. That's my fault.
I hate it when you do that.
That's my fault. I did the research.
That's a big difference.
Yeah.
So now we're getting the RB5 in the mid-second. That makes more sense.
You look at Jonathan Taylor and Saquon Barkley in the mid-second. Those guys are usually going 5th and 6th overall when you're looking at running backs.
Yes. Yeah, and you're comparing the position to the wide receiver position. In 2022 half PPR, there were 33 wide receivers to average 10 plus points per game and only 7 to average 15 plus points per game. Those being Cup, Jefferson, Adams, Hill, Diggs, Chase, and Brown. In 2022, there were 27 running backs to average 10 points per game along with 7 to average 15 points per game. So the reality of it is that the wide receiver 33, this is correct, is going in the mid-6th round right now. The wide receiver 33 is going in the mid-6th round. Tyler Lockett at 64.4 overall ADP. The running back 27, James Conner, is going a full 20 picks later. 20. 85.9 in the 7th round. I think you're kind of seeing the disconnect here between wide receiver production value and running back production value. We understand the argument, with the recent shift in ADP, you have the ability to grab running backs with high upside. In the historical dead zone, you've got players like Najee Harris. Najee, we've talked a lot about him. You should know how we feel about Najee Harris at this point. We really like him. Derrick Henry's also there. I mean, Derrick Henry could be the RB1. And people will say, no, not in PPR leagues, because yes, in PPR leagues, he has that ceiling. Yes, he does. Travis Etienne and even Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs, the guy that was number 1 in standard leagues last year. They're slipping to the 3rd and sometimes 4th rounds. I mean, it's truly incredible some of the running back value you're getting. I mean, I'm doing some teams where I'm smashing some of these running backs.
My first 3 picks in a best ball league today was Justin Jefferson, and then I got Derrick Henry and Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love that.
And the reason that the strategy was so effective last year was because based on ADP, you were able to grab the crazy wide receiver values early and find the dead zone running backs like Josh Jacobs who helped your team outperform. Josh Jacobs, his league win rate was astronomical last year. But when everyone catches on to a league winning strategy, it actually isn't a league-winning strategy anymore. That's exactly what we're seeing happen with wide receivers. And again, this goes with the zigzag concept. Everybody's doing this. It's not under the radar. It's not sneaky, and it's not going to win you leagues at this point. It's not. We have to identify the new way to win. That's what we're here to do. And we think this year we are going to have higher league win rates for teams that drafted an abundance of running backs in some of these dead zone rounds. And we think this giraffe is going to flip-flop. We think we're going to see a lot of league winners in these 3rd and 4th rounds, even the end of the 2nd, with guys, like I said, Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs, Najee Harris,
Saquon.
Jahmyr Gibbs is there. Saquon Barkley is falling that far. If Jonathan Taylor gets to the 3rd round, draft him every single time. Ironically enough, the new way to win best ball in fantasy leagues just might be the old way to win. Running backs used to be hyper-valued like this. We are going to argue that they should be.
So really, if you were to put that all in a single, sort of concept, single guideline that we're offering for you guys from a total strategy perspective, here's what we're saying. Round 1, lock down wide receiver. Rounds 2 and 3, lock down your elite level running backs who are falling way
and Breece Hall
way
is falling
too
down
far.
there.
Breece Hall is falling that far as well. We play for the end of the season, not the first 3 weeks of the season. Breece Hall is a league winner. So when and we talked about this a little bit in the wide receivers video, but again, round 1, wide receivers, 7 wide receivers last year that are still going in round 1 this year, 16.45 points per game. That drops to 13 in round 2. When you look at the running backs going in round 2, they're averaging 15 points per game from what they did last season to where they're going right now in the 2nd round. And that actually goes up to 15.2 points per game in round 3. You are debatably getting better value at the running back position in round 3 than you are round 2, where those guys could literally outscore the guys
Derrick
going
Henry,
above them.
Josh Jacobs.
And the reason, look, it is not always wrong to take a running back in the 1st round if you're going at the very end and you're kind of getting the scraps of those top 7 wide receivers. If you want to go Austin Eckler, if you want to go CMC, if you want to go Bijan Robinson, that's okay. It really is. And we're big fans of Austin Eckler and CMC. With Bijan Robinson, if you really believe in Bijan Robinson, and we do, take your shot. Don't make it a consistent thing that you're doing in every single best ball draft. He is still a rookie. Okay? He is still inexperienced. Yes, he was a top 12 pick or top 10 pick, top 8 pick. And look, he is incredible. The Atlanta Falcons run the ball a ton. There is risk there. There is risk there. And a lot of it is value.
There's risk because where he's going. He's going in the 1st round.
Yeah. Yeah, you're just setting yourself back with a severe disadvantage when you're not taking a wide receiver in the 1st round. And then and then taking more of them later. Like you've got to, this is all about timing. This is all about, like we always say, when you guys zig, we zag. Okay. I don't want to toot our horn too much here, but like it's so funny because before anyone, and I kid you not, before anyone last season, we were preaching take wide receivers. There are so many values in fantasy at the wide receiver position. Like these running backs are going too high. There are guys that have wide receiver 1 upside that are falling way too far. And were we spot on or were we spot on?
Good job, Nathan.
We were spot on.
We were pretty spot on there. Now everyone's finally caught on. And we've got to flip the script here. We've got to flip the script again. Take running back this year.
I mean, who would you rather have? CMC and T. Higgins or Stephon Diggs and JT? Like,
I know which one. And the thing is, there's going to be people who are watching this video who disagree, and they want the CMC T. Higgins side. But I think all three of us are taking a resounding other side.
Yeah, you should be taking a wide receiver in round 1 as much as you can. You can easily make up for not reaching for a running back in round 1 when you get JT, when you get Chubb, when you get Jacobs, when you get Henry in rounds 2 to 3. You're going to fade running backs through rounds 4 and 5 and pick up again in round 6. There are 2 to 3 guys there that can give you just astronomically high ceiling weeks. Round 6 through 8 is a gold mine for some ceiling play running backs. And even at the end of that range, like James Conner's one of them. Yeah. I mean, there's plenty
Huge
of them.
value.
In the 9th, 10th round, you're talking about Zach Charbonnet, who's so much more talented than the guys he's going around, but he's being faded because he's sharing a backfield. I mean, they didn't draft him for no reason. I don't really see that either. But
so here's some specific players to target. So we keep talking about these rounds. Take running back round 2, take running back round 3.
Yeah.
Skip 4 and 5, go to round 6, take running back there. Well, who? Okay, so round 2, Jonathan Taylor and Saquon Barkley, consistently round 2, mid to late round 2.
Yes.
We don't even need to explain those picks.
No, we don't. Nope. And you know what? We don't need to explain the next 2 either.
Yeah.
Derrick Henry and Josh Jacobs in round 3.
Maybe my favorite
gosh.
best ball picks period this year.
You want to make me
because you had didn't you have Justin Jefferson and Derrick Henry and Josh Jacobs
yes.
Imagine starting a best ball draft like that. I don't care about T. Higgins.
They could all be top 5 players, all 3 of them.
Yes.
That's like really. Anyways,
yes.
Yeah.
I mean, but let's say, okay, we're talking about round 3 guys right now. There's still, in round 4, there's still ETN falling. There's still Breece Hall falling. There's still Najee Harris. There's still Jahmyr Gibbs. And we're not saying you have to fade those guys. This is just the general blueprint. You're probably going to build a pretty good team if you follow this.
Yeah, this is mainly about the proven guys too.
We're typically taking wide receivers in round 4 and 5, so we'll give you that. But at the same time, if some of these guys are bleeding into those rounds, you're taking them. Keep going.
Round 6, Simon, I want to kind of hear your reasoning around Akers here, but Dameon Pierce, I definitely agree with in round 6. I think he's gotten to be a good pick there. He's actually fallen in underdog ADP this year compared to what he did last season.
Akers is the only guy there.
If we're looking at Akers and Dameon Pierce from in the 60s, like the 60th players off the board, you know what I'm saying? They're both the running back 1 on bad offenses. And this is the thing is we've not been fans of Dameon Pierce or Cam Akers as players, but when they're going to get the workload that they are, they certainly do offer those ceiling weeks, which is what you want in best ball. You don't need someone who's going to give you 15 points week in and week out in best ball. Take the guy who might give you 20 every other, Sure. And that's what these guys are offering you in round 6. I love that. If I've missed out on my running backs early, don't panic. You got those guys left in round 6. And in round 7, honestly, round 7 and 8 offer some even better values in my eyes.
Yeah, talk about a guy who goes from 0 points 1 week to 30 the next week, DeAndre Swift. In best ball, I will go to my grave. If it kills me, I will die taking DeAndre Swift in best ball this season. Okay. Taking him in the 7th round.
I died last year.
Game perspective, oh my gosh, please take DeAndre Swift in round 7.
To my grave.
Rashad White, the only guy in Tampa. That's a pretty good value there too, honestly. That's one of the last bell cow running backs that you're getting there, and he's consistently going ahead of really the final guy being James Conner in round 8. Someone explained to me, someone explained to us in the comments why James Conner is being valued this low in best ball. other than
he's washed.
He's washed.
It's
no,
weird,
he's
'cause
not.
every time
Did
people
you not
watch-
see what he did last year?
People watch the videos, and every time we talk about James Conner, people are like, "Oh, I completely agree." So I don't know why his ADP is still so low.
Because a lot of times people just don't catch on.
Or
with
people
this.
don't watch our videos. That's
or it's
the problem.
casuals. Like maybe casuals are bringing his ADP down because the people that watch
Maybe.
us agree with us for the most part, but maybe the people who aren't watching us are the ones that are low on James Conner because. Like, I don't know. How does the Kyler Murray injury negatively impact him? How does the fact that the Cardinals are going to suck this year negatively impact him?
Yeah,
it's
that's
all
fair.
positive impact. Dalvin Cook, Javonte Williams. Javonte Williams will be playing. There's significant risk with Javonte Williams, but once you get to the 8th round, the reward massively outweighs the risk with him.
And I would say I take the same argument as you did with Brees Hall here. It matters what he does at the end of the year. By the end of the year, Javonte Williams should be at least better off, right?
Yeah.
And in the 8th round, it's pretty good.
Yeah. And you're shooting for ceiling in best ball.
Yep.
Look, we know there's a ton of different ways to win fantasy leagues, a ton of different ways to win best ball leagues, but this is just what we found from a value perspective when we're trying to play the market as much as we can in these best ball leagues. This is what we found, and we think this is going to be a very, very effective strategy this year in these best ball drafts. So try it out. See if you like your team more with this strategy, because we did it, and we liked our teams more. I'm feeling better about my teams using this strategy that we're talking about. And again, we know it's not the mainstream strategy. However, you do not win fantasy and best ball leagues by going with the mainstream because the fantasy community is really bad at predicting NFL production. So keep that in mind as you're evaluating this video. Let us know in the comments if you have been practicing an RB heavy strategy and how you've been doing it, which players you've been targeting. We'd love to hear that as well. Do us a huge favor. Make sure you like this video and make sure you are subscribed. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. It helps us out so much when you subscribe. So much. It helps the channel. So make sure you're doing that. Make sure you head over to flockfantasy.com/domain. When you use our code domain, you get 30% off the entire site, which includes rankings, articles, databases, access to our Discord. If you choose the Mother Flocker tier for domain, then you also get a video review of your team. We will give you personalized team advice through the form of video, and you get in a listener league with us. We've got best ball and dynasty leagues open. So make sure you head over to flockfantasy.com/domain and use code domain there as well. As always, thanks for watching. We'll see you later.